Welcome back to the Crochet Karate. So, as my friends at yarnspirations.com, I'm your host Mikey. Today is a knit tutorial of doing the friendship knot knit pillow. This is consisting of two tube-like shapes that are put together and secured in a position. So once they're in the square knot formation, the ends are just tucked in behind, and then you just use a piece of strand to just secure it to the back side of the pillow. So you're looking at the front side here. So this is consisting of two tube shapes. So what I've done, I've did my homework off camera, and I'm going to show you how to do this. Now, the only thing I did not do is that I did not inflate it with any kind of fiber fill. Okay, so polyfill. But this is what it will look like. You will see that there's no seam lines at all because we're using double points to go all the way around. Now, I know what you're probably thinking as a beginner. Can you do this? I believe that anybody that has desire can do it. So what I'm going to do is go from a beginner's point of view, and you can use the video chapters to scroll ahead if you don't need a basic lesson of knitting. So without further ado, let's go. These are called double points, and so there are two sides. So you will use both sides of the point, and you need a total of 4 of them for these. These are usually sold in packs of 5, but you only need 4. I'm going to be using today is the Bernat plush yarn. You can see it's like a tube-like structure, and when you're doing this, it's really dense and really quite fun to work with. You probably will not see the polyfill through this. It's that dense, like your host, right? Dense. So you're going to put your yarn, and when you put your yarn down, I need you to go, if you're right-handed, I'm pointing towards the right, and if you're left-handed, you will put it towards the left. So you want the yarn on your right side if you're right-handed, and left if you are left. Let's create a slip knot. So just create some extra slack here so you have it to work with, and just use the tail end right here and use your finger right here to be able to go. So I'm going to be knitting primarily with this hand, so I'm going to wrap the yarn around this hand, and I just want to come up over top of my finger, around and around again. So it'll look like that, and I'll hold. Okay, once you have it done, so you'll come up, wrap around, and then you're going to open your hand with your other fingers and squeeze it down and hold it in this formation. And I'll hold again. I call it the game of leapfrog. We're going to take the back frog here and we're going to jump over this frog, but we're not going to jump over the finger. And if you have better ways to doing a slip knot, then please, by all means, do it. So you're just going to jump over and hold. And see, this is the new back one. So this leapfrog wants to jump over, but he's going to miss the finger and jump right up over top of the finger. And that is your slip knot to begin. Okay, so this is the very first knot that you'll need. So just a quicker demonstration. So wrap twice, pinch, leapfrog, and over. We have tutorials available on our channel for stuff like this. It's called the slip knot. Once you have your slip knot, I want you to grab one of your needles. Doesn't matter which one, they're all the same. And I want you to come in like this and pull the strand that is leading towards the knot tighter to the needle, but don't be so tight that you can't move it around. And then you're going to grab another needle and put this into this hand here, and this hand is going to be creating the stitch work that you're going to need. And let's begin to do that next. So we need to cast on. Now, people do it in many different ways. This is my preferred cast on. If you have another way, please by all means do that. So just moving this closer up to the edge, use your finger to prevent it from sliding off, and insert this one into the same knot, but when you insert, make sure that it goes underneath the back side. So inside the knot and towards the back. So it's looking like this from the top. So it's in the same knot. Now this hand here, my mom taught me how to pinch and throw, and in time that I've gotten easier with it. But what she did is that she just grabbed onto it like this, and you just pinch it and throw it over the back needle. Okay, so you can do it that way. In time, what I've learned is to take my finger, my pinky, and I'll show this to you a few times, and you wrap it twice. you come up through the inside of your hand and then out between these two fingers. So when you go to throw, you're just going to let it come up and wrap. Okay, so you can either pinch and throw, which will take you longer, but if you take your pinky, we'll do it again. So pinky, collect it and wrap. Come to the inside of your hand and out between your driving finger, your middle finger, and your pointer finger. So this will help control the tension. So we're going to cast on, and we're just going to wrap the back needle. And then we use this needle when we slide it down towards you and collect the one that we just wrapped and bring it forward like this. We pull a little bit of slack, and we need to put this new loop onto this needle. So we just are going to rotate the needle like this and slide it and capture it like so. And once it's on, take your needle out. So now you have 2 loops out of 8 that you need. To do the next one, going in, you're going to wrap the back one, flip it towards you, slide up, pull, and rotate and collect. Okay, so now you have 3. So into that one, collect, pull through, and slide it on. So because of this, the way that it's oriented in this hand, it doesn't want to, I don't have to keep letting it go. It's just gonna stay in position, and I pull it just a little bit tighter, but not too tight. So I have now 4 out of 8. So I'm going to wrap and flip through. And we have tutorials for casting on if you need a specific tutorial for that. And as you're filling this up, just move them down slightly. You need to keep the end close because you need to kind of move things around. So going in and flip and collect. So in, and you'll notice that this is a tighter way of casting on. And there's looser ways of doing it, but this is my preferred method. So I have 2, 4, 6, 7. I need a total of 8, so I'm going to do it one more time. Collect and put on 8. And I'm just going to slide these down just a little bit to talk to you, because now we have to introduce the other needles. So the other 2 that you're not using, you're going to use next. The next thing that we need to do is that we need to ensure that we're keeping the right count. So we're going to use 3 needles to go around in a complete circle, and the 4th one we're going to be using to knit with. So as the needle's empty, the one that you're knitting with fills up and you leave it behind. So we're going to put this one behind. So I'm going to slide off the configuration, and the configuration that you currently need to do is 2, 3, and 3. So what this means is that there's going to be 2 onto this. So just sliding straight on in and collect. Okay, you can do 1 at a time, or you can do 2 and collect both of them and slide it onto this needle and let it hold. And move it halfway down so it doesn't want to fall out. The next needle, you're going to take only 3 this time. So we're going to say 1. Okay, if you want to just do 1 at a time, you can. So you got 1, 2, and 3. And so the 3 is on there. And so I want to move everything halfway so that you don't have to worry about falling off. And what I want to pay attention to is where this strand is here. And so once we go around on the first time, you're going to notice that the circle will be then complete. So let's begin the first round. I'm grabbing a spare strand because I want to show you what to do that so that you can keep an eye on it. If you put a stitch marker resting on these, they're going to slide off. So I want to use a strand just to hold. So I'm going to pick this up, and the first one that we're going to knit with is the opposite side to where this is. So my first one I'm going to knit with is right here. So I'm going to just pull it closer to the end here, and I'm going to let these fall towards the back. Getting started with this is a real pain, I'll tell you, but once you get going on it, it's great. So you're going to knit, and we're going to knit front back. So we're going to do an increase right away. So to do that, we are going to insert into the one in behind. And because this is sitting over here on this needle, when we pull it through, we want to pull it through tight. So we're just going to wrap it around the back needle, and see how this one is in the way? Just kind of push it out of the way towards the back. And eventually this needle will fall out of the way. And so you're going to come through, but you do not want to finish this. You want to go through this one more time. So this was going through the front, and now we're going to go through the back. So we're just going to rotate this and collect the back side of the same one right here. Okay, and then we're just going to take this yarn and come through. So we've just done 2 stitches with just this one. Okay, so once you have that done, you can officially slide this one off. So every one of these stitches have to be done the same way. So we're going to increase the number to 16 by the end of this rotation. What I also want you to do before you get any further, if you have a crochet hook or maybe something that you can just pull something through, it'll be a lot easier for you to see. And so just pull the strand of yarn through, and this will help indicate when you're all the way back around. So I'm just collected it, and I just put it underneath the stitch work, just out of the way so that you can see it. So when you see this again, you know that you've gone all the way around. So now you're going to continue again. So the next one, the same thing, you're going to knit front back. So we knit for the next one. Okay. And we pull through, but we don't slide it off yet like we typically would. And we just rotate it, and we go into the same loop, but on the back. So we collect it from the back side. So if you want to look up a tutorial on our system, it's called Knit Front Back. We wrap the back one, and we pull through. And these needles will eventually get out of your way. And then you slide off. And then eventually the next one. So you knit. And luckily for you, you don't have to do this all the time. So you go the front side, and then you rotate it, and you get the same loop again from the back. And once you have that done, you can slide that off. So this needle just became empty. So slide this halfway, and you're going to grab the next one that you have, which will be right here, and you start the same. So when you jump the needles, just move these down closer, and you're going to still continue this round of knit front back. So just going in, knit, and then rotate again and collect the same one, going in and knit again. And then once you have both of those on from that same one, you can officially slide that off and move to your next one. So knit front back. Okay, so I will stay quiet for the remaining of this round and just slowly do it with you on camera. gets a lot easier to hold. So if you're already frustrated, just bear with it because it does get much easier just because you're starting. Okay, now you're just emptied a hook or an emptied a needle. So you're going to grab the next one up and you're going to come in, slide it down. So because it's your first one, when you jump, just make sure you're a little bit tighter. And we're still knitting front back. So every time we do an increase on this, which is only going to be a couple more rounds, and then you're going to be to the size you need to go. And then the last one. So I can tell it's the last one because I put in the stitch marker. Okay, and so now I've officially gone all the way around, and so you can see it's a nice tight interior, and I have an empty one, and then I'll be ready to go for round number. Round number 2 and 4 are going to be exactly the same thing. So this is where I left off. You can see where it's coming out. So the first needle I need to do is right here. Okay, just move the needles so that they're out of your way. The first one is always a pain. Okay, so you're going to come around, and because you're jumping needles, you're just going to pull that first one tight so you don't end up with a seam line or a space. And you just knit, and now you don't need to bother counting. So you're just going to knit every one of those that are on the needle. So you see how this one gets further away from you? It gets out of your way the more that you do it. And so you're just knitting. And once you're done that last needle is finished, push halfway to hold, and then rotate, and then push this one down, grab the empty, and start again, a fresh needle. So this is just knitting without any increases or decreases. And because this is the first one, just pull it a little bit tighter to keep it from a seam line showing up on you. And because I'm getting more on here, these needles are more, they're not jumping around or falling around as much. And so I continue around, moving the next one down. So just going in. And you continue to knit. I know it looks clunky on camera, but it's a lot easier on your lap. And now I can tell by the stitch marker that I placed that I've gone all the way around because it's sitting right here. Okay, so push everything to the halfway point, and then we're going to move on to round number 3. Let's move on to round number 3. So this is the starting of the round. You can see that this is where it's finished. So we're going to push this one down. And so this round here is knit front back and then knit 1. So the first one that you're going to start with that increase stitch of knit front back. Okay, so you're going in, and then you're just going to circle around and catch it again. And then wrap it again. So 2 just became out of 1 here. So we knit front back that one, and the next one is just straight knitting. Okay, so the next one is knit front back. And then the next one is just straight knitting. We're increasing the stitch work incrementally here. So the next one is front knit front back. And then the next one is knit. And you're going to do this all the way around. Okay, so move halfway, shift the next one down. So when you jump your needles, you're going to knit front back the first one. Okay, and then you're going to knit, straight knit the next one. And knit front back again. Okay, and then knit the next one. Knit front back again. And then knit the final. Okay, so I just keep on going around. So we knit front back the first one. And then we knit the next. Knit front back the next one. And then we knit the final one, and I can tell that the stitch marker is coming up, so I've just gone all the way around. So move it to the halfway point, and then you'll be ready to go again for the fourth round. Round number 4, this is where you finish, so this is your first one up. So round number 4 is just straight knitting all the way around, just like I've showed you in the past. And because there's more to hold, it gets a lot easier and faster to be able to crochet this, or sorry, to be able to knit this. Okay, so just knit all the way around, jump the needles as you jump them, and I'll see you at the end of round number 4 in a moment. Okay, I'm now all the way around, and we're going to increase one more time, which will be the final increase for this entire project. Okay, so let's start here, and here's the verbal instruction for it. Okay, so you're going to start, and you're going to knit front back the first one, and then knit 2 in a row. Here's a tip for you. When you go to wrap the first time, make sure you don't go over top of this needle because you'll create an extra loop by accident, so stay in behind. Okay, so we knit front back the first one. I know that sound is awful. Okay, so we knit front back the first one, and then we straight knit the next 2. And you're going to do that same pattern going all the way around. Okay, so knit front back the next one, and then knit the next 2. Please do this around for round number 5. So I've just finished round number 5. You should be able to count a total of 32 stitches that are going around the configuration. So just count each one of the loops. Now I know what you're thinking. Well, if that's the final increase, how does it get here? It's got to relax, and it's going to take several rounds before you'll see it relax out to that, and it will be growing out towards you. So what you need to do is that you just need to now go in a continuous circle over and over. You can pull out the stitch marker because it won't matter to you, because you have to just go in a complete circle until it measures a total of 52 inches long. So as you start your next round, you're just going to start, and you're just put on the TV and just start with your next one. And every time you're just straight knitting around and around and around. So you don't need to keep track of the number of rounds. You just need to keep track on the total length of your area. So from the base here all the way to before you start decreasing should be around 52 inches. So you're just going to go around and around and around until the cows come home or you're tired, and just continue to do that. And this will be a very nice, tight, easy stitch to do. So I'm just going to do a few more rounds, and you will notice that it would have taken 5 balls to do something like this. So what I'm going to show you next is what happens when you've got to change the ball out because you're running out of one yarn and you need to jump to another one, and that's what I'll show you next. Let me just do a few more rounds just to get you to that moment. Okay, so what happens if you have running out of yarn, and let's say that's true, and I cut the yarn, and so you have a new ball to go with it. So you can do it at any point. It doesn't have to be at a start of a round, or it can be anywhere. So when you're going to knit with this, you're going to knit it so that this strand can get relatively short. Okay, so you're just going to continue to knit because you're going to notice that when you get your tube structure, you're going to run out midway through. So I get it shorter and shorter until I have enough of it that I can tie it. Okay. And so I'm going to just stop here. So I'm going to let this strand fall towards the back. When I go to start the next one, I want to grab the new strand of the new ball and loop it. And I'm going to put it over top of the back and continue to knit with that one. And only grab the strand that's leading to the ball. And we're going to leave the 2 strands just holding there and just knit a few more stitches. You can probably knit a whole round, actually, to be honest with you, to make sure that it's stabilized, because you want the knot to be on the inside of this formation and not the outside. So what I'll do is that I'll go all the way around and I'll show you what to do next. So I've just stopped here, and this is where I finished. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do what is called as a weaver's knot. And the weaver's knot is what the yarn companies use when they tie the ends together on a yarn ball. So you're going to just knot over, okay, and come around like that. And then you're just going to pull it relatively tight, not too much, just enough to get rid of the slack. And in this one here, we're going to come around and go under like that. It's essentially a square knot. And so this will create the knot on the inside. And because this is on the inside and you'll never see it, you can just cut this relatively short and just leave it out of the way. And so as you're building this out, that will get tucked on the inside and you'll never see it. So what I want to do now is that I'm just going to knit a couple more rounds, and then I'm going to show you how to decrease it. So as you're building this out to the 52 inches, they're suggesting that you get your little foam, but you're going to notice is that your hand will eventually be able to fit in here as these relax even more, because you still have a lot of relaxation to get to this width, as you'll see happening. Okay, so it just needs several more rounds in order for that to happen. So I'm just going to knit a few more rounds, and then I'll show you how to decrease once you hit the size that you want. Once you got to the size that you needed for your 52 inches and you have it stuffed, you're then going to start collapsing it. So you got to make sure you stuff it before you're collapsing, because you're not going to be able to get your stuffing in. You're going to need that stitch marker again as we continue then, and we're going to do the first round of the decrease. So you can start on any one of the sides as long as you mark the first one of your item that will be the stitch marker. So just place your stitch marker in first, and this will indicate that you've gone around. So I'm just placing it in between a stitch just to kind of hold it, and you'll pull that out later. You're then going to do what is called as a 2 together stitch. Okay, so knit 2 together and then knit 2 in a row. So you're going to start by just grabbing 2 stitches at the same time. So instead of just grabbing one, you're going to grab both at the same time, and you're going to wrap and pull through, and so then 2 just becomes 1. That's a 2 together knit, and then you're going to knit the next 2. Okay, so you're decreasing stitches now. Okay, so you're going to knit the next 2 together, so grabbing both at the same time, knit, and then knit the next 2 by themselves. And I need you to do that all the way around. Okay, this is a relatively easier stitch to learn. So knit 2 together and then knit 2 on their own. Please do this all the way around until you hit your stitch marker once again. So I've come all the way around in that configuration, so there's stitches missing this time, and you're gonna notice it's gonna start buckling in a little bit, which is what you're needing. And so we're gonna start with our next one. We can see that we've gone all the way around. So the next round is just completely just knit as normal. So just knit in each stitch all the way around back to the stitch marker, and that will be round number 2, and I'll be right back. Okay, round number 3, you're gonna knit 2 together. Okay, so you put the first 2 together, and then you're going to knit 1 by itself, and you'll do that same thing going all the way around. Okay, so knit 2 together and then 1 by itself. Please do this all the way around for round number 3. Okay, so I'm coming all the way around. So on round number 4, which is next, this is your final chance to be able to get your hands in there to do any stuffing to get your tube shape to be completely full. So as you do your final round, the final round is just really quite simple. It's just 2 together all the way around. Okay, so every 2 stitches are going to become 1, and then you're going to be left with the 8 stitches that you started with, and then I'll show you how to finish from that point on. Okay, so 2 together all the way around. So we're just on our very final, and it's number 4. Any extra stuffing you need to add, you need to put it in now. You will not be able to get it in from this point forward. So this round completely is just 2 together. So every 2 stitches just become 1. Okay. And so you'll do that all the way around. So knit 2 together all the way around. This will leave you with 16 stitches, and then I'll show you how to fasten off from that point. So I've now just gone all the way around. You're back to the 8 stitches that you started with. Now here, you want to keep an extra long tail because you want to collect these off of your knitting needle. So you're going to start with the same one going around. So this is finished here, so you want to start here. So put it through a tapestry needle first. And so starting here, so you want to put it into collecting it. You can collect 2 at a time. Make sure that this goes through to collect the yarn onto that strand before removing your knitting needle. And so it's just going to hold it, and then you'll continue to do these next 3. You can just go straight on in. So this is going to prevent it from coming off. Straight on in, and so the knitting needles are gone. So now all 8 have been on there, so you're just going to have to pull that shut. Okay, so the stuffing will have already been done, and so it'll be filled out with the stuffing, and so you're just going to tie this into a knot on the end. You don't necessarily want the yarn to easily fall out, so you can see me struggling a little bit. That's okay, because it means that it's going to hold beautifully. So we're just going to collect it and let it tie onto itself. Pull it tight. Go one more time and pull tight, and then just stick it inside of the formation and come out somewhere else. And that's where I'm going to cut it. So when it relaxes, that tail will end up on the inside of this. And you'll do the exact same thing. So you're just going to grab your needle, you're going to put this on, and you're just going to rotate around there, pull it shut, and then close it off just like this. So you need to do 2 of the shapes so you can use the pattern for the configuration to be able to put the things together. So right here, these guys that are on the thing, just bend them backward and then just use a strand and just kind of secure it in behind so that it does not fall out. So just pin it back, and that's why you don't see it on this side. And that's how you would do this friendship knot knit pillow.